Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Morning Jumpstart. This is Sketch Club. It's the end of the day, not the beginning. So hope everybody is well. Glad to see you guys. Today we're going to be doing two 15-minute sketches. We're going to be continuing from Sunday. You can start fresh if you weren't here Sunday, but if you were here Sunday, you want to get those prepared. So it'll be half hour on each of them. Marty, hey, we're lucky to have you. Glad you've been able to join us so much over this break. So I hope you're well. Good evening, Susan. How are you, my friend? And artist. I think Susan's going to take over the world here. She keeps going. And Miss Sue Nash. How are you? All right, guys. So you guys got your books. We're going to be doing two 15 minutes, and then we've got the rewinds after each one. So the rewind is about 20 times as fast. So the whole 15 minutes happens in just under a minute there. So you can see the patterns in my thinking as I do it. It's a little easier to see at that rate. But however you're doing it, I hope you relax and enjoy it. So let's get going, huh? Let's get sketching. All right, hello. Claudia, a sketching friend indeed. So this is Timmy, a friend's cat, who's no longer with us, but we're going to spend 10 more minutes here. Oh my goodness, I hadn't seen Cindy's new Star Wars thing. She's fierce. So what you're going to see me do today is reinforce some of the shadows and some of the strong darks. Right, as I just revisit. And then I'm going to darken up around Timmy quite a bit so that the light of him really stands off. Okay, and towards the end you're going to see me pick out a little light on what he's laying on. And notice what a difference that makes. All right. Yep, that's what it looks like, baby. Looks like you're getting in a fight. Or you joined the wrong team. I don't know. What happened there? Why are you fighting with Vader? That's not cool. Boom, I'm just kidding. Cindy and Izzy and her mom are Disney fans, and they have desperately missed the parks. So they're looking forward to when they can go back and have a little visit. Little bitty visit. Alright, I know, I'm just not that funny without a sidekick. We'll have to, when we're allowed to be around people again, we'll have to get some sit-in sidekicks here or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's better when I don't have a sidekick. A little calmer. So I don't know that we've mentioned it in a while, and I'm going to get on some of you regulars too. We do have a private Facebook page for the students, but a lot of you have been sketching for a while. Go ahead here on the Meyer Studio page and post some of those. Post some of them in the comments if you can't get it on the page. I think there were some setting issues before. but we'd love to see what you do. We're hoping to have a little student gallery before all said and done, online student gallery, so you guys we can see what you're doing. You can share your work, right? You can watch each other grow, see what happens. See what happens. But we got a little overtaken trying to open the school and do all that. So we do have an online school with that's where we run our monthly painting classes through. And then we do have a Fundamentals of Form charcoal course up. Very affordable, $25 is a bunch of lessons. And again, you're going to see where my thinking comes from all these objects based on very simple forms. Very simple forms with a very simple lighting setup. Single light from one direction. We'll talk about the 4 values. You always hear me talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. How and why we use those. Plus, you get to spend some quality times with those good-looking fingers and knuckles right there. I mean, come on. That's got to be worth something. That's got to be worth something. Look how great this is. Look how far we are. We got 10 minutes left. So one of the things we've been talking about in class lately is having different things look and feel a little differently. So if you're kind of getting the hang of this, getting it all down, right? Challenge yourself. Okay, are these marks of a different quality in the background than they are on the cat? On Timmy. Not just any cat, but Timmy. Right? Does the shadow feel different than the light? Because after you have the basics down, what you want to do is start looking and trying to find more. Is there movement in your piece? Right? And some of us are looking for different things. And that's part of it too. You find out kind of what particular thing you want to draw. Do you place emphasis on movement? Emphasis on pattern? Emphasis on form? We all have slightly different, sometimes vastly different taste, but usually we have at least slightly different taste. So we're all going to slightly prefer something a little bit different, and that's why there's going to be so much variety. So don't worry about being yourself or having your own style. You're not going to be able to help it. Right? Everything you do is with your own style. The way you walk, you chew your food, you go to the bathroom. So we don't have to invent that. We don't have to invent that. Hey, look at this Miss Cindy Meyer here. She's all that and a bag of chips. Look at her. Thanks, baby. So link to the course. You can also find it through the website. And for this week, this will be the last evening program. We'll have tomorrow morning, we'll have Morning Jumpstart on YouTube at 8 a.m. So student feedback. So we've already got some good work turned in, so that's going to be a good show. And then that'll be it for the free shows for the week. We had to take Thursdays off the schedule so we can push some projects we're working on forward. Maybe sharpen our video making skills or something. So I was looking and talking with a friend today, and we were looking at some other things out there and seeing how this differed from some of the things we saw, right? And part of what this is we try to have a little more openness, right? Or something at least I try to do is have a little more openness. Have a little bit more room for the viewer to discover, for the viewer to inject their imagination in it. Oops. Looks like somebody's big head's getting in the way. Somebody forgot they were on camera, I think, and started to get into this a little bit. And a big part of your growth as an artist is, growth as an artist is becoming aware of what you're not aware of. Becoming aware of what's essential and not essential. Right? And then developing a language. Right? A language, and ours is a language of patterns. Gray, light, dark, gray, light, dark, gray. And it's more intricate than you can possibly imagine. That sounds pretty dull, maybe. Some dark, light, gray patterns. But I don't know. I don't know. For some of us, it's enough. It's enough. You can check out our website, Jason's website. I'm here a lot, but this is by no means the Jason Show, so Cindy's at least half of it, and all the time we got more and more people helping out. So our programs and our classes are based not a class at a time, but I always focus on artist development, right? Trying to develop and grow not only your abilities, but your artistry. Okay, that's something I didn't hear too much about, to my great frustration as a student. Right, but there's simple abilities you make. Like somebody needs to go how to draw on camera school, I think. Maybe that's an ability this artist should develop. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But the other thing about it is, if you're really into this to get better and everything, and over the long term, after you've done it for not very long, it can be kind of a lonely path sometimes. So it's nice to have some friends and community to travel along with. All right, check in with. I was surprised to kind of find out how learnable all this was. I was under the impression you could either draw or you couldn't. Quote Dwight, false. I know there's probably more to it, but that's all I know. That's all I know of Dwight. So now that we've got a good light against a dark, right? We don't have a lot of time, but what you might do now is start showing more of that form, developing the look and feel of the form of the cat a little bit. Right? So now that you've got the pop, you've got them going there, what you want is to make sure that there's enough interest there to hold them. What you want. That's what I want. I don't know what you want. You got to decide what you want. That's up to you. The you want's a you thing. And let's see if I can remember what I said earlier. Sometimes we wonder, what is a finish, right? What is a finish? And at first I tell you, a finish is white. Finish is white. Well, white's where the eye goes first. White is where the eye goes first, and most of the time when we first start learning things, the first thing we need to learn is how to get the eye to a particular place on the canvas. Okay. And then we want to learn how to make sure it's not two-dimensional, but three-dimensional. And there's a lot of really deep implications for that. I know it sounds very simple, but if you really understand what that means, it's telling you exactly what to do. Right? And then when you have the ability to see it happen on the paper, then the whole thing just becomes another game. It's just another level. Right? To feel something, feel like it coming off of a two-dimensional surface, or like you could reach into that space. Right, but what you find out is it's not always about just detail. But for me, the paintings that most thrill me are the paintings or drawings with movement. And how can you get movement in something like this? Well, it's going to have inequality. How does water move? Well, when the ground's not level or not the same. So the same's in our sketches and our paintings. We need some sort of more to less. Areas where our eye's going to go, areas where our eyes will pause, areas our eyes pass over. And then again, when you're onto that, that's another game. And so part of the beauty about sketching and art, depending on how you participate in it, is the same activity somehow changes over time. Right? This is no different than when I started, we figured it out, 26 years ago or something? Doing everything exactly the same, but my understanding's different. The things I'm trying to do are completely different. The things I realize I can try to do are completely different. And so really this is something about you changing, right? Your work changes when you change. Your work looks different when you begin to look differently, when you begin to see differently. Right? I think a lot of people mistake that they're going to gain some special skill or something. Now, I know those are good little looking fingers and knuckles, but I assure you there's no special skills in those things. Right? The skill is in just understanding how to get what I need done. And part of that's not asking more of the things that you're using than they're capable of. Right? So engaging very practically. So all this burnt wood, well, it can be darker or a little lighter grayer or even lighter grayer. Right? That white chalk can be bright. That toned paper can be between the white chalk and the gray. So we're going to let all those things just do those things. And then we're going to think about how they can sing and dance and come together. Right? What's more, what's less? You're going to go from where to where. You ever think about that when you're drawing? Where are you starting from and where are you going to take them to? Looks like somebody's rocking out with his hat there. Or I think the proper way to say that is vibing. Is he says, yeah, you just vibe in your studio with your music. Okay. Is that what I do? Alright, so when I take the drawings off, I'm just emptying the dust, the charcoal dust, into the trash can. Sometimes, especially if you're kind of going over big areas or pressing with a little more pressure, you can get like a charcoal dust buildup. You can actually use that to smudge around, or you can just dump it in the trash can or save it for later. Unique creativity. No, there's not, Claudia. It's just flesh, man. It's just flesh. No more unique than you have, Missy. No more unique than you have. So the subject matter here really is that whole light, the whole dark. And if you follow the dark, you'll see that it actually moves from the grapes to the ground, to the other grape, to the orange, to the ginger jar, to the leaves. That's one single pattern. We're going to connect all of them. Right? You're the one that's seeing a grape. You're the grape seer, not me. You're the orange and leaf looker, not me. All I'm doing is dark patterns, gray patterns, tone of the paper patterns. Kind of a pattern guy. Do you see how as we put that shadow a little darker, it actually made it look like there's light on that table? Without light, without shadow, light has no substance. It doesn't look real. And I hope you guys are also seeing how, again, it's not a one and done thing, but we can go back over and go back over. Literally give this paper history, generations of charcoal marks, what came before, what came after. All that from some burnt wood. Oof, oof. The only limit to how beautiful we can make it is your imagination. I know when I first started watching all this, it was magic. It's not magic, it's patterns. Pattern, it is magic in a way, but it's not inaccessible. Does that look like amazing dexterity to you? I don't think so. I don't think so. Right, so those darker marks are little piles of charcoal that you see there. So notice how I kind of go on top and pat it down and go circles, go side to side. I intentionally try to make different kinds of marks so that what's left on the paper looks differently. If you do the same mark over and over and over again, it's like, how would you like me to say the same word just over and over and over again for 30 minutes? Not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun unless you're an expert at tone. Comedic timing, perhaps. But we need some variety in word, vocabulary, tone, speed, pauses. So it seems like I'm not stopping, but have you noticed that it's a little darker, richer up front, and then we're being a little more lighter touch as I move back? Right? That's no accident. Building an eye moving machine here. We're building an eye moving machine here. We got to move some eyeballs. Move some eyeballs across this paper. But you see, even without much detail, you're already going where we want to go. There's always some movement. Right, then we're just going to be very clear. We're going to let's just be very clear. I'm going to put up a neon sign. Boom, right here, brightest. So I'm going to spend a total of 30 minutes on this. And look, we're 25 minutes into this. But if you've got the main structure there, then like a little pattern on that jar, right? The stems, some other little things like that. You can pull this into a quote unquote finish really quickly. But if you don't have those good solid bones, you know, it's almost, there's nothing you can do. Almost nothing you can do. Okay, so there's some pattern running around the jar a little bit. And typically, and I probably should have even been more careful here. I'd have been a little more thoughtful about perspective and things like that. But there's under 4 minutes on the clock. There's under 4 minutes. So I was feeling the pressure, man. Feeling the pressure. Okay, then from here on out, I'm going to reinforce a couple things, and then you're going to see me more take things out than really put things in. So I'm going to give that leaf a side plane, right? Decide what's dark, what's shadow, right? And if that shape's just too whoop, 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 well, we can stick something in there to change it. Right? You're the boss. You bought that paper. You own that charcoal. You're the boss. This is up to you. Do you notice how just that little pattern of dark of the leaves added just as much, if not more, than the pattern on the ginger jar? And did you notice that those leaves are almost an extension of that pattern on the ginger jar? Pretty tricky. Pretty tricky. So here what I want to do is I want to take these light leaves and see if I can't just knock them down a little bit. These oranges, the same thing. Because those oranges aren't as bright as our little white ginger jar here. Whitish ginger jar. So what I wanted to do was make sure that there wasn't too much dark on the stump there, and so I was checking it in the background. And then you notice how it's just a little bit darker, right? I want it still lighter than the background. Working some air in there, softening up that edge. Look how quickly that just kind of settles in there. Couple of soft edges. Put some things in order. We can use the eraser to make that gray not quite so dark. Show a little bit of a top plane on there. All right, make sure we get the viewer back behind the shadows. Right? Obviously we're in front of the shadows, but you want to make sure they make it behind the shadows. And that'll give your work more of a sense of depth. Slight reflections there. And we're down to 0 again, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see the rewind. See how we ended up tonight. How did you guys do? So reinforcing some darks here again to pull our objects off the background. Saying forward. This is dark and forward. We're going to bring this forward so that that can go back. Gonna make something most. Boom. See if even our patterns can't transcend the objects, just like our values transcend the objects. Orchestrate those values. And there you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna do it too. So she's bragging here. She's bragging that she fell asleep in class. So relaxed, she fell asleep. Did you fall asleep with charcoal in your hand? Oh, that's hilarious. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Sketch Club for the week. Tomorrow morning we will have Morning Jumpstart. This will be the last Morning Jumpstart of the week. Remember, this month we had to take Thursdays back a little bit to work on some projects that will, I think, enhance the artistic learning experience. Everybody had a good time. I hope you can like and subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And hey, you guys, let's post some of these drawings in the comments here on Meyer Studio. You know, I know we're always doing it in our private thing, but share with our audience over here what you guys are doing. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thanks.